So I apologize for the sudden interruption. I really don't know how to operate things, and I had a Skype call, and it ended the share that we're saying. So we're on page mem. We're at the bottom, and we got to a point where the lights. We said the lights, the 370, recognized where it was going towards the Malchus, and the Malchus, which is the king, he says, in this story, is the marshal of the king, is seeking these lights to come to it, to fulfill it. So we are right now on page Mem Aleph, and we're on these words. And they let it be known that they were looking for Yichud. They wanted to be able to combine each other. And so they made a pact together. And if they go back to their homes, whatever that means, I'm not sure the significance of the concept of homes. So now we're saying, wait a minute. Malchus is a feminine concept. So what is the female that Malchus is going to be able to mate with? What is Eric Anpin is a male concept. What is the female concept of that? So now we see another important principle, that everything is male and female. David HaMelech is a man, but he's Malchus. And he has wives. He has different female aspects that he mates with, that he joins with. This is called a yichud or a zivug. So these things produce. So they go back to the places, to their separate places. Now when they say bias, it really refers to Malchus again. They go back to the Malchus, also the Malchus of Eric Anpin, seeking the Malchus of Atzilus, different. So the Eric Anpin has a female aspect. It's called Eric Anpin Benok. And then you have the Malchus as a female and male concept, could be called Yaakov Rachel Agadolim, something like that. There's different kinds of names to explain the relationships. So the Shazah, so he says, that if they come back to their houses, and they're able to make a yichud and be able to produce zera, some kind of seed that will be produced, for Yulid and Zachav in the cave, and that should each one of them, one will have a second generation, which would be a reproduction of some kind of a seed or some kind of an egg, so that you would have the possibility of two things coming together. That they could be able to have Zer Anpin and his wife, the male and female aspects, and we'll get into all of that as we get into the so both in his chatein, so that each one of them should be able to produce male and female. Now I mentioned before that there are two concepts here. One concept is called mad, which means mayim duchrim, male water. What water is the concept of mayim magdilim et esa'ilon. Mayim is what you need if you want to grow a tree. So therefore you have mayim coming down. And then you have also another kind of mayim that comes up, which is called mayim nukvin. So searching for each other, that we need to be able to produce more than just a recognition of each other. We need to produce something tangible that they they could exchange. So if they produce males and females, the azay yizchatnu bein shneihem, there will be a chasana. So they'll get married. They'll make a yichud. The nasach of a keser, the base of a holid ba. So then the keser, that is this 370, went out and he produced a daughter. It's interesting, he produced a daughter, not a son. From the 370 lights, the Rich Anpin, is what Rav Shek writes. There's Chavel Lamata Malchus Shihaba, so that it comes into the concept of the Malchus of this Eric Anpin, which is his daughter. But Melech Nasa, the base of a Holid Ben, and then this Melech, which we said before is the concept of Malchus, produces a male. Shehu Zer Anpin, which is Zer Anpin. Now, I don't really hear the Kabbalah of this exactly 100%, but he's mixing the ideas. He wants to say the idea is that there's a Malchus and there's a Zer Anpin, and the two of them are going to come together. And I don't see the Kabbalah exactly how it is that the 370 lights produces a Malchus, whether it's a female aspect of itself, and the Malchus produces a Zer Anpin, which is a male aspect of itself. That's exactly how that works, but that's what it says. But then the fact that they had made a pact between them, they forgot it. Why would they forget it? Remember back to the first story. Why was it that the neshama gets lost? The neshama gets lost. Why was she kicked out? So here we have it again. Is it for some ever reason that the way that the Eibishter made the world, he made it so that there should be choice. And he has to do that, so therefore there's a forgetting. So that whatever they're supposed to do, and they would have done it right then, there would be no reason for the world. We wouldn't have a world. Because everything would have been perfect then. For testing and for the person of choice, that all of this is within all of the different dimensions, the different universes. That at the beginning they're not going to be joined together. So that there should be some choice and testing. Because if you had a situation where the original the zivug was constant, and everything would be complete, and there would be nothing but the Ein Sof. Once again, back to our Sod class, if you had the kav came from the beginning of the challah, went all the way through to the bottom of the challah, everything would be back together into nothingness again. Lo choya bechira b'nisayim klal, there would be no chance for growth. Ki choya gilui ha'or Ein Sof b'geviyos, because the light of the Ein Sof would be constant. And he has this concept, the Rebbeinu Kodesh says that when you have stumbling blocks in your life, don't give up hope. It's Rav Shuk going to say that many times. He says, don't give up hope, because those stumbling blocks, you need to be able to figure out, or have the faith that you'll be able to build some kind of a ladder to get over them. So he says that we'll be able to, if the light would be constant, then you wouldn't need the ladder. But if it's not constant, then what's going to happen is that you're going to have to figure out how to get up to the higher place. So then there would be there would be no reason to have choice. There would be nothing lacking, as I said earlier. So he said the cloud. Now Rav Shik writes this, and we're going to finish up with this paragraph. So we have this complicated idea, and I say, I can't explain a whole 100% of the way that he said it. Whereas the Malchus produces a male, and the Eric Anpit, which is representing the male tendency, is going to produce something female. Not sure exactly how I understand that, but I'll put it out there and maybe somebody else understands. So Rav Shik writes like this in parentheses: A klal hu shebechasifer chazer Rabbeinu Zal Megala Sod Yishtalshlus Kol Olomos Mehachaschala Ad Sof. So here he says the development of all of the different olamos, and let's say for the purpose of just the conversation between you and me, that when he says olamos, he means different dimensions. So dimensions that we don't necessarily understand, but he's trying to give us his greatest hint as he can. But the chilek the necher shtalshlus kol olamos in the beginning, before there was a development of any of the world, of the olamos, echad lo yoda ma'asheni. So there was no correlation between them. They didn't know each other. So why would there be separation? Why did explaining again back to the first shar in the Otzos Chaim? He says, what's the purpose of the whole thing anyway? Why do you need to have things that are distant, that don't know each other? They're not related. So therefore, the seeking of unity, of combining, of yichud, really becomes paramount. So who led his banim, because there's no possibility of having reproduction of neshamas kadashos and any further development of light if you can't have a yichud. So when the universes come together and the different dimensions, each dimension, we want to say like this, is that when you're in this world, we have a job to do in this world. So when our time is up in this world, we're going to move on to a different dimension. It's not going to be a physical dimension. Then we won't be talking about the neshama that's inside of your goof, because the goof's not going to be there. So then what you're going to have, you're going to have a neshama. The neshama is going to be in a different place. So maybe I can guess, I could say, well, the next place is going to be called, this is called nefesh, this world called nefesh. The next world is going to be dimension, is going to be called ruach. What do we know about ruach? Well, it's a wind. It's music. So I don't know what it is because I don't live in that world. I can only guess when I'm praying and I'm making the vibrations coming out of my throat, which is the lowest possible thing you could do, that those vibrations themselves have a reality. Colors, vibrations, sound waves. I don't know because I live here. So and so these things could grow. So I read it right, excuse me. But Tom sees that the purpose of a man in action, that a person in this world has to constantly be seeking Hashem Yisbarach. To make a yichud in the spiritual world. Making a yichud, you can say this in different kinds of ways. He's going to try to say that what you're seeking is their anpin of the lower world is going to seek the malchus of the upper world, and vice versa. That we're constantly looking for an attachment, an opening that will bring us and suck us, pull us in to a higher place. And not to be give up hope on anything that happened to him. Because even at the very beginning of creation, the Chachamim said like this: He built worlds and he destroyed them. Until we came to this world. Now this actually is a reference to the Shvira Zakelim, and all the different possibilities that were in that broke. Amad Den Hanyan, so he says, I like this is good. Yaskon Lo Hanyan, or that's not going to work. So this particular part about creating and then being destroyed and keep moving forward, all of this idea refers to every single one of us, every Jew. We read those because we know that in our lives, this will be from the beginning to the end, there are times when we have success in what we do, we conquer what we need to conquer, but there are other times when we get conquered and we have failure. And the main idea is because this process of being banged around, believe it or not, and going through sickness and failure in business and different kinds of problems that we have, this is all a process of refinement. But you have to have faith to be able to keep going and be strong. So you have to make yourself a kli in order to be able to be, and that's how you make a kli. Because the ultimate purpose, your purpose here is not to get rich. It's not to be admired by other people. It's not to have the biggest house or the biggest car or anything great. The whole purpose of making yourself or yourself being in this world is to make yourself a kli, to be able to kabbalah the or the Ein Sof Baruch. So if you're going to do this, you're going to have a tremendous amount of fortitude. You're going to have to fortify yourself like crazy. Lo lipo b'dato klal, because in your failures, you will find that you have a tendency that you want to give up, like Rabbi Memran said in regards to Rabbi Akiva. All the work that he did, coming from absolutely nothing, he was a Baal Tshuva, he was a Ben Ger, he had nothing good going for him, and what he ultimately was able to achieve was all lost. Broken completely. 24,000 dead. Till he came to a point where he got 5 more. Now this number 5, remember he said there's 5 partsufim over here, there's lots of different kinds of things that you could try. The Rab is trying to and the Rebbeinu Kodesh is trying to push us toward some feeling of another dimension, of a higher dimension. So let's finish up. This is the tremendous greatness of a Jew. That even though what happens to him happens and he gets broken, but they murder us, they butcher us, they kick us out, they make us, they treat us like dogs in the street, but we fortify our positions. And even in the midst of it, you didn't get a chance to go to shul, you didn't get a chance to be bar mitzvah, you had to run from wherever you came from, the United States, and you had to start all over again. You don't remember, you didn't know it to begin with. Even so, don't give up hope in any way whatsoever. And if you're able to pick yourself up, you will find your salvation because it's looking for you. Remember the way that he first saw that. He says that Zer Anpin is coming down, he's looking. Malchus is coming up, she is looking. The main thing, and Rebbeinu Kodesh says this over and over again, don't give up hope. All right, here I am, different. What do I know? So he says, so then you'll be able to merit, to find your salvation. Don't give up hope at all. Over, even if you're going in the wrong way and everything is going bad and what's happening is happening. Between one thing and the next, you have to stay strong, and you will because you're a Jew. And understand this practically, what you have to do. Okay, thanks a lot for listening. I really enjoyed saying this year because I'm learning something over here. Call to